Hi, my name is Janet Quintana. Today we're going to discuss Chapter 23, which is broadband in the home. Alright, so when we were growing up, we used a lot of hardback books, encyclopedias and dictionaries, commentaries to find our papers and do our research, right? Yeah, guess what? Almost not needed anymore. So with the changes in time, broadband has come into play. So now what we're going to do, we're going to take a look at the definition of broadband and some little tidbits about that. We're going to look at the types of power lines, phone lines, internets, and television. Just briefly on the phone and the television. And then there's a couple websites I put in there for you guys to go and check out. So first we're going to talk about the definition of broadband. Broadband is basically just your high-speed internet. Tim Berners-Lee was credited for developing the World Wide Web. Everybody uses the World Wide Web these days. And believe it or not, the World Wide Web is only a few decades old. I remember when the computer first came out. I remember when we didn't have what we have today. So first thing we're going to look at is telephones. So in that first picture you see a big brown box with a little crank on the side and little speakers and bells on top. That's what one of the first telephones looked like. Basically what you would do is you'd pick it up, you'd turn the crank and you'd say, so-and-so, can you connect me to so-and-so in what city? And they would connect you to the next operator that would connect you to who you needed to talk to. Not very private. Later on, exchanges started, we got exchange numbers, so the operators started becoming a little bit less needed. There were still some, but not a lot. Now the wires went from one telephone pole to the next across the country. See these big massive stalks of wood everywhere you could think of. Now, that changed in the 80s and the 90s with the newer developments. They started putting the phone lines underground. Don't know if that was to protect the lines or if they felt like that was safer, but that's where they started going with the phone lines. Companies like AT&T used fiber optics to make these, to supply the power to the lines. With that in mind, if you live in Florida, like I do, you know that in Orlando we have Disney World. Disney World also has a place called Epcot Center. In Epcot Center, it looks like a huge golf ball. That's their big main icon in Epcot. And it's called the Planet Earth. If you go on that, it's an actual ride. People don't know that it's a ride. And if you ride in it, it actually is presented by AT&T. So you see what their idea of the future of fiber optics, broadband, all of that is. And it's a really cool ride, I think. Now, sometimes phone lines have been known to run off the modems on the computer. Comcast has that feature if you do a phone line. Okay, so now we're going to look at the internet piece. So we have DSL, Digital Subscriber Line, that supplies broadband internet across regular phone lines. There's FTTN, Fiber to Node. It's a hybrid of the DSL that uses fiber optic cables. Then there's FTTH, which is the fiber to home. That too uses fiber optic networks to help supply the home. Cable modem. This one's my favorite. Cable internet, that's internet offered by television companies. So the book mentioned two companies, and both those companies are big here in Florida. AT&T being one of them. This, believe it or not, is a modem offered by AT&T. This is their 1995 package. It's possibly more, but the speeds that we had was the 1995. Didn't fit my needs. It may fit yours. It's not a bad company. And then there's Comcast. Comcast internet fit better in my home because of the fact that we have two college students in the home, and at times we need to be on the laptops at the same time. So it's your choice which provider you use. Personally, I like Comcast. Now there's wireless as well, and there's two types of wireless broadbands. Mobile, which is offered to your wireless telephone companies. And there's fixed. Now fixed can use Wi-Fi or WiMAX. Wi-Fi is your short range, and that is used for devices such as the cell phone, the laptop or tablet, and your laptop. WiMAX, that stands for Worldwide Interoperability for Microwave Access. And there's two versions of the WiMAX. There's fixed point to multiple point version, and there's mobile version. With the mobile version, you can access it up to 30 miles away. The last one is the BPL, which stands for Broadband over Power Lines. Now, that one was where you had to be plugged into an electrical outlet. This one lost mobility quickly for two reasons. Radio waves, radio frequencies would interfere with the access, and the fact that there was other services that ran faster and they were much better for the home. Now, when we look at the television, you think about the 50s when it's just this little round thing that's probably about 10 inches, 9 or 10 inches, and you see the family sitting there like this. Okay, that's not needed anymore. You go from that to analog. Now, what's interesting, cable boxes themselves have changed over the years. It used to be you had to have a cable plugged into the wall and running from the wall to the box to the TV. Guess what? Not anymore. This is the remote for the TV. It turns on the TV. It's coming on, sorry. And it has an option.
They were dismantled for their wood.
See up there where it says HDMI? It's running off the cable box. Somehow it's like a modem and feeds into the TV. The TV is not plugged into the box at all. Also with that, there are satellite dishes. Those were coming up really quickly. A lot of people prefer the satellite dishes. I just don't like them because I'm afraid that with the weather being the way it is here in the state of Florida, it wouldn't run on rainy days. Now, if you look, cable boxes that we use today are different than what they were 20 years ago. If you look at the slides, you'll see a slider and a box, a Comcast box. The slider was my favorite, and I think it was my brother's favorite too because we always had competitions with it. And then you hear from the kitchen, "Stop doing that, you're going to break it." Okay, Mom. Needless to say, we did it anyway. Now, the next slide after this, you're going to see two websites. These websites are for your information only. They're updated information from the charts that are in our chapter. So take a look at those at your term, anytime you can. I found them very interesting. You might too. Now, for my final question. With the phone, the internet, television, all changing the way it is. With the changes that we've seen in this video, and the changes that some of us have probably seen as a child growing up, where do you see the future of broadband in the home, as well as what's the future for broadband in businesses? Thank you for your time, and I hope you enjoy this video.